Hey guys, just got done with dinner. My mom made it. It was awesome. And I'm at the park, the normal one that I usually make my videos. And so this video, it's going to be about, as you can see in the title, the Hilo dunker. And there's actually a famous video out right now, not famous, but more famous than I am, of the Hilo dunker, and they call it Hilo dunker most stressful training in the U.S. military, or something along the lines of that. It's stressful. And I would agree to a certain extent. It was terrifying. It was definitely terrifying. They put in a metal cage, flipped upside down in water, and then you had to go and escape it or I drown, you know? One of those things. You can see in the video right now, I've got the Hilo dunker up. And I'll just be playing some footage that I got in the Marine Corps from my time in it. And one of them is this Hilo dunker, as you can see, kind of flipped upside down. People are starting to, you can see the bubbles. And I'll just be playing some videos of the other helicopters I've ridden and seen. My experience with them, I'm a rifleman, and every Marine that's going to be in helicopters, such as me, because I was part of a Hilo company, the company of Marines, 150 Marines, whose jobs are to ride in helicopters and fight people. I was a rifleman, so I was supposed to go and ride in helicopters, right? That was a Hilo company thing. And also flight mechanics, the pilots, obviously. I'm pretty sure it's not just Marines that train at this, but it's definitely a Marine thing because, you know, we're amphibious and we got to know how to escape when the helicopters crash. Because if you saw in the news recently, I think in the past 2 weeks, maybe 3, we've had 2 crashes in the military over water that have killed service members. The most recent being, I think it was about 2 days ago, there was a nighttime Black Hawk training thing for the Army, so there were soldiers. And there's 5 of them, and they just called off, the Coast Guard just called off the search for them. They're presumably dead, which is sad. It's very sad. So perhaps they didn't do this training. I mean, nobody actually knows, but 2 weeks prior to that, there was a Marine Osprey that crashed right off the deck of a aircraft carrier of some sort. And there was about 26 Marines in there, and only 1 died. Sadly, you know, there was a death, which is terrible, especially just for training. You know, because they weren't doing combat missions or anything; it was just training. I mean, compared to what the statistics were before they started giving us the Hilo dunker training, 1 death out of 26 Marines is fabulous. There are also multiple injured Marines in that, so with broken legs and everything and all the gear floating around, I'm so happy that they survived. That is just remarkable, most of them. So, without further ado, I'll just get into my experience with the Hilo dunker. So, I was a Marine with 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines in Tornado Palms. So, at about 3 a.m., I think it was in July or June, of 2016? Yeah, 2016, so about a year ago. At 3 a.m., they told us that we were supposed to be at the bus loading spot, so it's just a white school bus, and the bus didn't come till 5, so we were sitting there for 2 hours like usual. And they bussed us out to Camp Pendleton, which is 3 hours away, because that's basically the only place there's water. Tornado Palms is in the middle of the desert, so that was kind of silly. We got trucked over there, or bussed, and they started teaching us for about 4.5 hours. We were in this classroom right next to the pool that the Hilo dunker was in, as you saw in that one clip. I'll show it again. I'm just kind of putting random clips in here so you guys don't get bored. And during that, they taught us, during that 4.5 hours, the instructor told us his personal experience with his buddy was a Marine Recon, and they showed us the video of it. It's a very famous video. I think it was a Huey or Venom or something, and it got attached to the ship. The wheels, it got stuck on it, and then they thought, oh, we got to go and pull up. The pilot thought pull up, which is a natural tendency if you're stuck in some sort of if your helicopter is stuck. I'm not a pilot, but apparently that's what he told us, and it crashed just belly up. It was terrible, and everybody died except for this guy, and he was crying during, and he was telling us about his experiences. And yeah, so they taught us all about how to survive the helicopter crash. I'm not going to tell you that because instead of this video being 10 minutes long, it's going to be 4.5. So, and I'm already rambling. So you taught us all that, and then we were off to the pool. And they had to go and give us 3 training things before you do the Hilo dunker. They have to make sure that we're calm in the water. So the first training thing was to go put our feet on top of the deck of the pool, and we had to go and dunk the rest of our body, so our upper body, in the water. Just our calves and our feet out of the water. And that somebody would be holding your calves, and they'd be watching you, making sure that you have a straight back to the wall of the pool, and they'd give you the hose of the hose. I mean, I guess it is sort of a hose. It's a breathing apparatus that they give all Marines who are going over water in ospreys. Presumably, I'm guessing. And it gives you 3 minutes of air, but you have to, it's kind of finicky. You have to go and clear your mask before you do it. But for this particular thing, they just kind of dunked you, and you put the hose in your mouth, and they made sure that you could be upside down in the water with the hose, breathing normally, staying calm with your back straight. Because if you have a bent back, it's you could get yourself more hurt, because the osprey is probably not going to go down all smooth. The second thing was they had to go and make sure that you could clear your mask, or clear your breathing apparatus, which is just a hose with 2 air tanks around your neck, and kind of around your body too. So we had to go and dunk ourselves, and we had to stay underwater, not breathing like air from, not getting up from the water for like 2 minutes or something. That's how they knew that you were breathing out of your hose. So they made sure that you could clear your hose and breathe out of it for 2 minutes. And then after that, they put you in the third thing, which was a wire box. It was a giant wire box with a seat in the middle, and you just take a seat up there, and then the instructor, they have a bunch of instructors out there teaching us all this stuff. They really want you to know how to do it, and they aren't trying to haze you or anything, even though it's very stressful. And when you're seated up there, they'll be like, all right, I want you to go and take out the window to your right, because one of the things, how you get out of an osprey, you can either get out through or not out of an osprey, but out of whatever the Huey or whatever is, you can get out through the 50 cal, or you can get out through the windows, which are on the osprey, and they just had you train with all of them. So when you're in the wire box, they tip it upside down, and you're underwater, and you have to go and clear everything. You have to pretend you're in the Hilo dunker. It's just a kind of a mini Hilo dunker that's manually turned, and you have to go and get yourself out of whatever exit they told you to do. The 50 cal is by far the most easy, because it's already open. It's an open hatch, and you can just kind of squeeze in there. Especially me being a small guy, it was pretty easy for me to get through the windows and the 50 cal stuff. But other than that, that was the third one. So, and then it's your time to go and do the Hilo dunker. I was part of the second wave, so out of 30 of us that came to this training for this particular day, I was one of them, and I was part of the second wave. So they put like 10 guys in there, maybe 8. They have instructors. They have like 3 instructors going down on the water with you, making sure that nobody's panicking to the point where they're drowning, and they'll pull you out. They've done that. They did that a couple times when I was there. They did that to me once, and before I get into that, I'll just tell you my first experience with it, all right? So our adrenaline's rushing. We swim out to the Hilo dunker, which is on the ground. It's not going to be like you saw in that video. It's not going to be all the way up. They have it on the surface of the water, and you just kind of climb into it, and you seat yourself in with the buckles, and you have no gear for the first time. You're just camis and boots, and sorry, like I said, I just ate dinner. So you're in there, and then they rise it. So they get it up about 5 feet in the air, and without notice, they're just like, it starts going down, and it starts turning, and the instructors are in the water, and you're watching each other like, oh my god, dude, like, what have I got myself into? And then you go through the training. It lasts about a minute to 2 minutes. You're in there, and it can last up to 3 because, like I said, you have 3 minutes worth of oxygen. But it was terrifying. It almost immediately hits the water because the bottom of the device that you're sitting in is wire, and it fills up with water really, really quickly. So as you saw, it gets completely submerged within seconds. It's very, very quick. And right when it hits the water, it starts tipping and tipping and tipping, and then boom, it's upside down. You're upside down. You're in the water, and water's rushing everywhere, and you got to stay calm. So you've got your hose. You're not supposed to be finicking with it before the helicopter rests and starts resting, because you'll start getting panicked, and you're supposed to brace for impact with all 4 of your limbs attached to your seat. You're supposed to be, very planted, up straight with everything touching your seat, so you don't go flying around. Because you can't be. If a helicopter's crashing, you're gonna be going everywhere. If you only have one arm attached and your 2 legs, that one arm could get hit by something, and now you're just free flowing in a completely dark, terrifying environment, which you'll most likely drown. So you get put in the water, and for about the first 15 seconds of being underwater, you're just resting there. You've got everything planted, and then you start getting the hose, which you have that breathing apparatus around you. It's got two air tanks and a hose that you put in your mouth. And then you get that hose cleared, and then you start breathing normally. Get yourself, the number one tip is to stay calm. Get everything all situated. Make sure you know where your plan of exit is going to be, and then start moving there. And you are always supposed to have 3 points of contact on everything. Basically, I mean, I can't explain everything because it would take 4.5 hours. Like I said, there's a lot of safety requirements we're supposed to do, but stay calm. You have 3 points of contact and everything, so you don't get lost. And then you get yourself to your exit. You push on the window, it juts out, and then you swim out, and you're free. And you made it through the first round. And there's 4 rounds, all right? So the first one was with camis and boots. Second one was with camis, boots, and a flak. The third one is with camis, boots, flak, and Kevlar. And then the fourth one is with all that stuff plus a rifle. And it was at the Kevlar and the flak, so the third round, that I actually failed one of them. And I didn't have 3 points of contact. I let go of both feet. Both my feet were just kind of dangling, and then I was free flowing. I had no idea if I was up in the right position. I had no idea which way was up, right? And so one of the instructors, he swam to me, and he picked me out, and he had me go to the top, and I failed that part. But you just have to go and redo that. So instead of 4 times in the Hilo Dunker, I did 5. A lot of people this happened to. My roommate, actually, his name's Andrews. That's his last name, which is weird. He failed about 10 times on one of them, so he did the Hilo Dunker about 13 times. And every single time we'd be watching, we'd be like, come on, you gotta make it. I'm sure he was in that video that I'm showing you. I'm sure he's in there because he was doing it the entire day. He was just in the Hilo Dunker because he couldn't get past the last one or the second to last one or whatever it was. And they kept making him do it because he got through the 2 or 3 of them just fine, but it was just one of them that he just couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. And he would every time he would come up coughing with water in his mouth and trying to breathe, and it was funny. We were making fun of him, and by the end of the day we were like, hey, did you make it? And he's like, no, I failed. We're giving him shit. We give him so much shit. But sometimes you fail. What's that saying? You win sometimes, you lose some. And he just so happened to not get the certification for that. I'm sure he got it later on, after I got out. I'm not totally sure on that, but yeah, I would say that's about it. I got my certification, and it's good for 2 years. Not that it matters in the civilian sector, but hey, I could put on my resume, underwater egress training, yeah, fun times, stressful. What would I rate that training on a 1 to 10 scale of stress output? For the first time, I put it 8 out of 10. I mean, there's a lot of instructors, so it was definitely not a 10 out of 10. But as it went through and you put on more stuff, it gets kind of scarier, but stress level definitely goes down to like a 5 out of 10. Yeah. I'm not scared of the water. There are Marines who are scared of water. There's Navy who barely know how to swim. I know. Like, there's everybody in the military, so I definitely had it good because I knew how to swim and I knew what the water felt like. I wasn't scared of. But anyway, I'm going to be giving you guys a couple videos here in the next couple days. I'm here at the park, like I said, so I'm going to be making a video on the Veterans Affairs and probably something else. I'm not sure, but stay tuned to my channel. I'll talk to you guys later.